Social media has exploded on the scene, and it's reshaping and redefining politics like never before, comparable only to the advent of television in the 1950s. It's especially making it easier for libertarians to get their message out and influence people. We saw this when Congressman Ron Paul mobilized an online grassroots movement during his presidential campaign that continues to the present day through organizations like the Campaign for Liberty. Two people that were there and continue at the forefront of this movement join me now. Caitlin Korb, a young libertarian, and Austin Peterson, the new media program manager at the Atlas Economic Foundation, are here. Caitlin, in my generation, social networking occurred at restaurants and bars, or maybe occasionally at some kind of an academic lecture. Is the internet the heartthrob of social networking today, particularly amongst young people, Caitlin, and especially amongst libertarians?
Well, I would definitely say it is, and networking still does go on, Judge, in all those the common venues. But more and more, this is a small movement right now, but it's growing rapidly. And the way to coordinate with among all these different states, these different student organizations that are popping up across the nation, is via social media and online. I came out to D.C. just a couple months ago and have gotten plugged into this community beyond what I ever imagined possible, just because of social media, because of the work that people like Austin are doing. I got Facebook invites to some happy hours during the summer. There are events constantly going on several times a week, and I was amazed at how, even though the community is small, it's so impassioned. It's full of young people that are so committed to these ideas, and they are really taking advantage of these new tools to get their message out.
Austin, you have graced me with your presence at some of my speeches, so you know how youthful those crowds are. I look out over the people there, and the average age is certainly under 30. What is it about Campaign for Liberty, Atlas Foundation, what is it about the freedom movement in this country today that is appealing to so many young people?
Well, freedom is popular, Judge, and young people today are very concerned about what's going on in our government. It's very easy to get online right now and find out the truth of what's going on. Maybe 10, 20 years ago, we couldn't find out the real data of what the government was doing, how much they were spending, how much they were lying to us. But nowadays, you can get on YouTube and see a politician say one thing out of one side of his face, and then an hour later say another thing out of the other side of his face. So now that information is so readily accessible, I think that young people are very interested in ideas about freedom, because now we can find out the truth of what's really going on. I mean, libertarian solutions work. If you look at libertarian societies, the time that we were the freest in this country was the time when we were the most prosperous. I mean, regulations don't work, and there's all kinds of data that's out there. It's easily accessible to millions of people nowadays, and I think that young people are really interested. They're much more socially tolerant than we ever have been in American history, so there's a lot of liberty ideas that are embraced by young people today, and I think that social media is really reflecting that.
Caitlin, Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would also echo that. I think a lot of young people are really frustrated with the options that are available to them today in the realm of politics. You go to school and you kind of try to forge a political identity for yourself, and to have to constrain your views to the powers or the parties that are established is really constricting. And I think the Libertarian Party overlaps on a lot of different issues with both the left and the right, and so allows individuals the freedom to decide on issues for themselves and to expand their views outside the constraints of party boundaries. So
I'll ask you both, Caitlin and Austin. Do either of you know any people of your own generation that want the government to take care of them, a la health care, rather than want the freedom to make their own choices? Do you know anybody in that category that's under age 30?
Maybe my brother, I don't know.
I know nobody. The people I know, the young people I know, are the most knowledgeable, the most aware, the most empowered, I think, generation of young people that has come about in recent times. That we've got so many tools at our disposal. We've got so much access to knowledge, and everybody I know doesn't believe that there is anybody out there that can make a better decision for their life than themselves. Right. And I think that that's where the Libertarian Party really is able to effectively engage this generation.
Right, this is a globalized economy. I mean, we have access to resources and tools and knowledge and materials that no other generation in the history of the world has ever had access to nowadays. We don't really need a top-down central government to take care of us anymore. I mean, the Republican concept of decentralization, is reflected on the internet, and I really think that the future of the world is going to be a libertarian world.
Caitlin Korb and Austin Peterson, thanks very much for joining us on Freedom Watch.
Thank you so much, Judge.